Hello again. Figured I'd do another episode. Brain work good today. I'd like to correct the record. I was going through some things and I noticed that I had called the Kentucky weed eater shooting the judge who had lent a weed eater out to some criminal, and even though the criminal told them the right address, they got a warrant for the wrong address and then went to a third unrelated house and then shot the guy. That happened in Kentucky, not Texas. I wanted to correct the record on that. Also, it seems like my audio is pretty dang good. And that's the only issue, the AC that I need in order to breathe in this room. And this is quiet enough that it's not really picked up. So if I move in there, I can have very good audio quality. But who knows if Bill Gates is going to brick my computer from being able to interact with YouTube like he did with my last one, because I wouldn't update the operating system. Like, really? Thanks, buddy. I really appreciate that, since you're like the only person who makes computers that aren't like for 2-year-olds, Apple. It's really great. And yeah, I really want to learn Linux. I really want to dedicate like 30% of my brain storage capacity to figuring out how to boot up my computer and attach it to the internet somehow. I'm not even sure how that works. I'm sure it's very complicated. Wouldn't it be nice if websites built in the ability to block out AI and then have you click a box to allow it, consensually? Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Gosh, because AI is just going to flood. I'm serious. On like every social media where people come together, and it makes the internet a more personable and interactable place, and not just a place for you to click a button and then have it take your consciousness from you. Social media was a very advanced step in the internet's direction, and it will be completely and utterly obliterated by AI. And the companies that choose to minimize AI will be the more successful companies, because, old people will catch on. They will catch on eventually. And young people already know. Young people already can tell what's AI and what's not. And in general, have started to gravitate more and more away from AI. At least that's the vibe that I got for back when I was on social media and I was seeing the observations about it. It's a very small portion of the remaining part of the middle class that has been crushed and crushed and crushed. That same, diluted middle class that sits around all day and presses a button so that they can stay in, some role play, some legacy business owner's fantasy that he can survive in the macroeconomy collapse, which might actually be the thing. You might actually be able to keep your business if you never sell out. But ultimately, unless you have a trust fund, you're not going to be able to afford to hire people with the skills that you need. So it's a big macroeconomic issue. And wouldn't it be wonderful if all of our engineers weren't on like mind obliterating pharmaceuticals? Most of them that I've met are on some form of mind obliterating pharmaceutical. And yeah, it's all compartmentalized. So as long as you know your little square and you have your brain trained to a savant level, despite the fact that your senses are neutered or castrated by these long-term high-strength pharmaceuticals. All right, maybe that'll work, but it's not the sort of thing that China and India are producing. And I bet you that Russia is going to start getting up on their game now that they're more and more isolated. They need more and more. And it seems like, at least when it comes to warfare, they got it locked up. They are on parity with any Western nation that dedicates all of their resources to the military. So that whole thing about the military-industrial complex needing a bunch of money, it's kind of bullshit. If Russia can do it on a shoestring budget, why does Point Raytheon, Virginia, or Boeing Heights, Maryland. Why is that a place where you need to funnel billions and billions of dollars? And for that same reason, Israel, what are they going to do with billions and billions of dollars? Biden just sent them another $8 billion. What's that worth? What's that going to do? Ultimately, unless you live in a country that has a high cultural dedication and a high birth rate on top of that, your money doesn't mean anything. And that is ultimately the reason why we have to bring in workers from other countries into our own economy, into our own country. And that's not me saying it. That's the people that are in charge of economics. And then give them our money, which is another contributor to inflation, in order to work the jobs that we do not have the education for. Because the entire system is collapsed. The teachers aren't getting paid what they should. And all up the stack, even in Ohio, where they have your legacy colleges, it's atrophied. The entire system has no pressure on it. So if you're in the very, very top, like most liberal democratic minds are, you have no pressure, and that explains their behavior. You have no reason to think that, by teaching the next generation, you're going to make a better America, because that's not what you see on the ground. You see things getting worse and worse and worse. You see the money becoming worth less and less and less. And so your dedication, which is the cultural dedication, isn't up there. And then poor people, and even middle-class people, you see this, their birth rate is lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. So these combined issues means that it doesn't matter how many trillions and trillions of dollars Steve Mnuchin and the Biden administration print. It doesn't matter. What matters is bodies. What matters is dedication. And there's a lot of Indians that have a very, like, you can even hear it in the Indian scammers. They have a tenacity about them, and that tenacity allows them to even go into another culture and rise through the ranks in it. That same tenacity is a tenacity in the Jewish culture as well. And that is ultimately the real currency. That tenacity, that charisma, that faith in a brighter tomorrow for your family or for your country or culture, whatever it is, that's the ultimate, that's real money. That's cash. Not paper and pyramids. That's not cash. Speaking of pyramids, Aztec priests, as I was talking about the Tura and delirium last time, Aztec priests would take the Tura as their spiritual catalyst, if you will. And this is a really good sign that not all drugs are equal, and not all mind-altering states are therapeutic or beneficial in any way, shape, or form, and some indeed are worse and worse. See, the Aztec culture was based off of doom that would come from the sky at any moment. And that's actually kind of common in cultures like, Canaanite Moloch worshipping cultures, atheistic, self-centered, body worshipping cultures. They think that bunkers and, doomsday prepping, like Hosha in Albania, Enver Hosha, that is a viable way of combating the paranoia, but ultimately it isn't. And the spectacles of horror. A lot of people say that when Europeans went to America, they unlocked this. They unbridled and invited a corn demon, kind of similar to the word corn, the demon of the chaos god of wrath and destruction and blood and skulls, that comes from the blood sacrifice, the Aztec blood rituals. And they were actually cannibals, even though when given the opportunity to not be cannibals and given another religion and consecrated to Our Lady of Guadalupe, there was a tremendous amount of conversion that happened, because naturally, why would some people don't instinctively want to do that? But it's what they were trapped into. And their priests doing deliriance is the exact thing that caused the city of doom to manifest itself. And there were multiple cities of doom, and they built these ziggurats, and, you know, it is what it is, you know. I have a hierarchy. I'm not an egalitarian when it comes to viewing different cultures, and Aztecs are on the very bottom. And you have some southeastern Native Americans, as well as Mescaleros and Navajos, that are among the nicest cultures, point blank period, anywhere. Anywhere. You know, just like there are some Vietnamese cultures, there's some of the nicest cultures anywhere. There are some North Native American cultures are the nicest cultures anywhere, especially the ones in the southeast, where there were confederations, and there was high trading, and there was high cohesiveness, and there was low amounts of war, as opposed to the northeast, which had a high war society, lots of wars, and the northwest, which had slavery. It had vestigial slavery from the 20,000-year-old system that their ancestors had. And when they shot out into new territory in the southeast, they seemed to abandon that and just lived off the land, and probably learned a lot from their ancestors' failures, and lived with the land. That's where the religion of totemism comes from. It's everybody chooses a totem animal, their spirit animal. That's where the concept of a spirit animal comes from. Unfortunately, a lot of modern Americans, as I've said, are tapeworms. It doesn't have to be it. It doesn't have to be at all. Listen to Cousin Wolftone. I'll set you right. Cut out all processed sugars. Eat complex carbs like oats. Eat beans for protein. You will not regret it. And if you find yourself farting, that's probably because of your entire macrobiome that is responding to it. Give it time, and you will literally not fart from eating beans. Literally, you won't. That's now, caveat. Yum Brands Taco Bell in these days is absolute crap. Garbage, and a lot of times gives people legitimate food poisoning. But a lot of the time people are complaining about, you know, hitting the bathroom extra hard after a night at Taco Bell, specifically because they never ate that like level of fiber that often, and it was good for them. And it's kind of sad to see how Taco Bell is gone, but like as I said, the macro economy is you know, dire. Speaking of a dire economy, Javier Millie is a fascinating halfling. His experiment of no government will be interesting to watch. I've never seen it in my life. I've never seen a Western government go full-blown anarchist, you know. I haven't studied the communes of France very much. I don't want to. Every time I hear somebody coming from a commune, it's like problem. That's not a coincidence, my dude. Like these like mind arresting and progress destroying problems coming out of these anarchic communes are because you don't have proper rules and regulations. You need proper rules and regulations, and you need to not be scared of rules and regulations because you've been saddled with improper rules and regulations. It's as simple as that. And speaking of proper rules and regulations, you need child labor laws to protect children from having their growth plates messed up and permanently stunting their growth. That's legitimately what happens when you have children working, is their growth plates get messed up. Same if they're like if they're weightlifting, their growth plates get messed up. Every child should have the ability to learn music, to learn stuff like fencing, and I'm serious, some people are going to be, oh, it's white culture. No. Being able to extend your mind into a sword, being able to play a musical instrument and have a musical ear is part of gaining in like an above 90 IQ of allowing yourself to and I'm serious, like it always sucks at the beginning. You always suck when you start off. The person who is a master at spinning plates has broken thousands of plates behind curtains, behind closed doors where nobody sees. But when he gets out on the stage, because he's gone through those, backward steps, and he's stepped forward every single time he's gone through 9 backward steps, he has gained the ability to stand out above his peers, above his audience, and that delights them. And it's a delightful thing, and it makes society more delightful. And genuinely, it's take it from a musician who's taught himself to play cello for like 6 years before ever getting a tutor. It's fun. It's worth it. You, as the parent, just have to, have the patience to put up with the fighting cats for a while, And to always, if you're learning fencing and stuff, always wear protective equipment and stuff like that. But like this crap that it's white culture, fuck you. Like, stop with this white-black shit. Start lifting people up. It's as simple as that. If you're an anti-white racist, you're a piece of shit. If you're an anti-black racist, you're a piece of shit. But at the end of the day, white and black aren't even real terms. So you're wasting your fucking time, you piece of shit. Get right. Learn about Europe. Learn about Africa. Learn what the Dahomey culture did to West Africa. Learn the difference between London and Northumberland and Wales. Learn about it. Then you can talk about it. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and move to something else. Invest your time better. I'm so happy I'm not politics guy. I'm so happy I can just riff off of whatever is on my mind, because I don't even like playing video games. I don't like being locked into one particular thing that somebody else programs for me. I like to have the ability to make it up as I go, and because I'm good at it, And whenever I find a video game that I'm really, really good at, if I invest any time on it, I'm always end up rising up the competitive ranks real quickly. And the reason is because I learned music when I was younger. The reason is because when I broke my hand, I practiced with my katana until my hand got better, and then I learned to extend my mind into my sword. And that made me better at driving. It makes you better at everything. So why would you want to keep that from people? Oh, so that they can, do nonsense, or so they can work, so the children can work in a mine? That's not why children like Minecraft, dude. Children like Minecraft because they can customize anything and they can do whatever they want in there, and it's not, harmful. That's why. Gosh, speaking of kids, Nick Fuentes, he leads a bunch of boys that are scared of vagina, and he makes them more and more scared of vagina. Want to know why? Because he's a homosexual grooming victim. And unlike most homosexuals, he is targeting children. Not only is he targeting children, he targeted any people who were able to be groomed into charging into the Capitol on January 6th, which wasn't that damaging. It was like a minority of people, as I said, the 5 out of 1,000 that were actually doing the damage, and then the 1,000 got punished for it, because that's how things work. It takes a little bit to spoil the bunch if you allow yourself to be in the same bag. That's why I said stay focused. Don't get in the habit of arguing all the time. That is literally for low-tier women to argue all the time and to conspire all the time, instead of like looking at how you can lift people up. That's how you gain muscle. You lift people up. Modern muscle cars suck, and the people who drive them are usually real weak. And crotch rockets are annoying as hell, and so are Rams. And I can tell now, based on hearing some really powerful construction equipment, which, by the way, is wonderfully not picking up on the microphone, that, no, that sounds great. I actually like that. I've always liked that. I knew 3 or 4 years ago, all this shit started to get worse and worse and worse. And every once in a while, it was like the 1 out of 10,000, dickbag Harley rider that was causing the problems. Now it's like 1 out of 100, 1 out of 50. People have these annoying ass Rams with their fucking dirty idle shit, and they have these annoying ass muscle cars that go pop, 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 pop. Yeah, that's real great, bro. I'm sure your engine is loving that. I'm sure your exhaust system is loving that. I'm sure all that pressure inside of your system is really great for the longevity of your car. I'm sure it's really efficient. You fucking retards. Anyways, that's the last I'm gonna mention that, because it's confirmed, this bullshit. Stellantis scalpers have legitimately just made things worse. And it goes to show, it's Las Vegas culture. It's, if you can't get everybody to gamble, just give people brain damage so that they'll be easy to gamble, and crush anybody in your way, bully anybody in your way, that's Las Vegas culture. You want the entire country to turn into Las Vegas? I'm sure some of you do. Probably not the people that are fans of this show, though. So, buy things that are efficient. Don't buy wasteful shit. Don't. Or you can go into debt for a $4,000 tungsten cube. You actually need that out, and that'll make you happy. That'll fix you. Go into debt for a $4,000 tungsten cube. A cube with density and weight. It delights your friends, and it confounds your enemies, and it's a great defense tool, and it's also a wonderful paperweight, and you can step on it if you ever need a little extra height. Go into debt for a $4,000 tungsten cube. That's a really, really smart idea. You heard it here at Wolftone Finance. Anyways, guys, take care.